Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Imagine waking up every single day and not knowing if your memories are actually, well, yours, or if they were just quietly installed overnight by some corporate algorithm. Today, we're stepping into the world of Arcpalimpsestoir, exploring the absolutely terrifying, glitching reality of Detective Marcus Kane in a futuristic city that's completely controlled by a monolithic entity known as MemCorp. So, we're dropping right into the thick of this dystopian nightmare. In this city, simply holding on to your own thoughts is literally considered an act of war by the corporate states. MemCorp uses these mandatory neural interfaces to just edit out anything they deem unproductive. We're talking grief, trauma, any spark of rebellion. And by doing that, they don't even need prisons anymore. They just edit the population into the state of completely docile, manufactured happiness. And anyone who resists that, well, they're the enemy.
Right off the bat, our protagonist experiences some massive cognitive dissonance. He pulls up his digital personnel file, and the name says Michael Kane. But he inherently knows, deep down, he is Marcus Kane. He remembers his murdered partner as Dr. Sarah Chen, but the official, sealed record, Sandra Cheng. Every single digital fact contradicts this ghost of a memory that he is just desperately trying to hold on to. It's like his own mind is a puzzle where none of the pieces fit.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Kane's physical body actually rejects the digital lie. He's got this 2-inch white scar on his wrist that actively burns and itches whenever his interface tries to overwrite his thoughts. Now, his medical file claims the scar doesn't even exist, but he knows he gave it to himself with a piece of broken mirror, carving it into his flesh because he knew that while the mind forgets, the flesh remembers. It's essentially his analog anchor in this massive digital sea of lies. Through these intense hallucinations triggered by that very scar, Kane finally uncovers the truth. His late partner, Dr. Sarah Chen, had stumbled onto MemCorp's absolute darkest secret, which was Project Palimpsest. Now, this wasn't just some therapeutic tool for PTSD. MemCorp actually weaponized it for wholesale personality revision. It's this horrifying program that turns everyday citizens into compliant, self-policing subjects. Sarah found out about it, and she decided she was going to burn the whole thing to the ground.
Which brings us to the kill switch and Sarah Chen's final act.
You see, right before MemCorp murdered her, Sarah actually built a virus to destroy Palimpsest, and she trusted Kane to be the one to deploy it. Cut to an abandoned transit hub. Kane retrieves the physical data chip from her grave and taps directly into MemCorp's fiber trunk. And man, it is a brutal race against the clock. At just 14% upload, MemCorp security swarms the place. By 56%, a massive gunfight breaks out. And right at the very end, right before it hits 99%, MemCorp actually tries to use Kane's own neural interface to physically freeze his nervous system.
But he fights through it. Despite literally being shot in the chest, Kane successfully deploys the virus. And the impact? It's instantaneous. 400,000. That is the number of citizens whose suppressed memories are instantly unlocked as this virus just ripples through the MemCorp archives, completely corrupting their carefully curated lies. In a matter of seconds, hundreds of thousands of people get their true minds back. So let's look at the unlocking, as the city finally remembers. As this virus spreads, the sheer human cost of MemCorp's technology becomes horrifyingly clear. Take Eleanor Voss, for example. She suddenly remembers her teenage son David, who was killed in a train accident. MemCorp had literally edited him out of her life just to cure her grief. Or Jonathan Weiss, who realizes he was memory edited into confessing to Sarah Chen's murder. Then there's Maya Rodriguez, an engineering student, who suddenly remembers she used to be this passionate painter before she was optimized for better grades. True grief, innocence, passion, they were all just clinically erased. But we have to look at this objectively. There is a massive ethical dilemma here. As a bartender named Ruth warned Kane right before he uploaded the virus, you're going to give all that back to them whether they want it or not. By releasing this virus, Kane essentially forces thousands of people to relive unimaginable trauma. It asks a really profound question, right? Is it ethically sound to force someone to remember a dead child if they were living peacefully without that pain? It's a super heavy realization about the true price of truth. Now, MemCorp isn't just going to take this lying down. They retaliate incredibly fast, leveraging their absolute control over digital records and the media. First, they frame Kane as a mentally unstable terrorist. Then, they go on the news and heavily gaslight the population, calling all these returning memories virus-induced hallucinations. And chillingly, they offer free re-optimization to the terrified citizens. And the crazy part? many people actually take the offer, choosing that manufactured piece over a really painful reality.
This forces a totally new strategy, the analog resistance fighting back.
Since the digital world is entirely compromised and MemCorp completely controls the narrative, these newly awakened citizens realize they have to go completely offline. They form an underground movement using low-tech, purely physical methods. Step 1 is brutal. Undergo excruciating black market surgery to physically rip out the neural interface. Step 2, keep handwritten, analog journals to anchor their daily realities. Step 3, print and distribute physical, untrackable pamphlets all across the city. They are literally building an infrastructure that MemCorp cannot remotely wipe or edit. Their whole philosophy completely shifts. It's simple. As Kane puts it, we make it physical. We create a record that can't be deleted. By relying entirely on face-to-face testimony, smuggled paper records, and physical scars, they build this robust movement based on undeniable, physical reality. If it exists in the real world, MemCorp's algorithms just can't touch it. And the group stepping up to lead this vanguard? It is an incredibly unlikely alliance. You've got Marcus Kane, of course, then Ruth, the bartender who became an underground surgeon. There's Alice Morgan, a former MemCorp PR exec who had actually forgotten her own dead husband. David Park, the engineer who originally designed Palimpsest before they edited him into compliance, and Sarah Voss, Kane's former police lieutenant. Together, they are risking absolutely everything to hold illegal press conferences and hand out hard evidence. But to actually land the final blow against MemCorp's massive PR spin, Kane realizes they need the ultimate proof. His journey culminates in this completely daring, solo raid on the abandoned city archives, and there, he finds it. A dusty box labeled Chen S, Personal Research Materials. These are Sarah's physical, handwritten notebooks. They undeniably prove that MemCorp knew palimpsest was a weapon of control from day one, finally giving the resistance the exact ammunition they need to wake up the rest of the city. So as the analog resistance gears up for this all-out, incredibly low-tech war for cognitive freedom, it leaves us with a really haunting question. If you were given the choice, would you choose the peace of a manufactured lie or the pain of your own true memories? Seriously, what is the true price of perfect happiness? It's an absolutely fascinating look at identity, trauma, and technology. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning what you know to be true.